Welcome to the weekly and welcome to Matthias Studios Pottery here in Marshfield on the South Shores of Boston, Massachusetts. Well, yesterday I unloaded the kiln and I was pleasantly surprised that only one piece was fractured. Everything else survived. And even more surprisingly, the rock bowl came out pretty stunningly. Now, if you've been following my posts, I pressed this piece of clay onto a rock on Wrexham Beach. It's about 10 minutes from here, if that, where I live in my Hermitage studio. And every once in a while, I try to sit on the break wall at the end of a work day with probably a glass of wine. And I noticed right in front of the break wall, there's this rock that protrudes out of the sand. It kind of feels like a Zen garden because that's how they build Zen gardens. They bury these rocks deep within the garden, so the rock feels almost like a mountain is emerging out of the garden. And that's what this rock in front of the break wall feels like to me. And I kept looking at that rock and I'm going, I think this rock could make a pretty attractive bowl. So I pressed a slab of clay over the rock. This was probably, I think this was like in the beginning of October. I wanted to do it right before the weather got too cold. And I pressed the rock. It was a nice day, probably around 60, 70 degrees out. Went out in the morning, pressed it, and in the evening I slid it off and it didn't break. I was very surprised. I transported it back here to the pottery and it dried for, 2 months, I guess almost 2 months. And I fired it last week and then I glazed it and then I fired it again. And this is the rock bowl. It's a substantial piece, very weighty. I think this would make just a great centerpiece on somebody's dining room table, or if you had a larger, coffee table. This is a statement piece right here. It captures all of the elements of what I see every day. I call this my sand glaze. It just looks like the sand on the beach, and then the free flowing movement of the ocean water itself. The rock bowl captures it all on Wrexham Beach. So I will be posting this on my website probably this evening. And so it'll be up either this evening or first thing tomorrow morning on Sunday. This is an heirloom piece and a stunning piece, and I'm just so happy how it came out. It just captures everything about Wrexham Beach, in my opinion. And I just have a lot of work that really came out successfully. I love these little, I don't know, I call them my sushi dishes. They're nice, they have a nice feel, they have a nice weight to them. Again, this is the sand collection. It just captures the sand on the beach and then the ocean itself. So I will be posting a lot of these on my website this evening. So check out all the new work at MatthiasStudios.com. And an announcement, one more open house this coming Friday, first Friday of December. I'm teaming up with KO Fine Art Gallery, which is right next door to me. Me and Carrie will be doing one more first Friday open house, and then we're going to take a break for a while. We might not start them back up until the springtime. So if you haven't been to an open house yet, make this one. I'm going to have all of this is brand new work, and I'm going to be doing another firing, and hopefully I'm going to have a whole other new round of brand new work before Friday comes around. So until then, I will see you at the open house, If you can't make it, if you're out of town, if you're in town, you have to come to the open house. If you're out of town, check out all my new work on MatthiasStudios.com. Until next week, stay creative.